Okay, guys, welcome to this very important lesson on expectations. This is very crucial to ensuring your success with internet generated leads, so stay tuned. This is a longer video, but I can assure you it is one of the most valuable ones that you will watch in the series. There's some things that we should consider and we should remember about internet generated leads. This is not a method for a quick, immediate sale or a quick ROI. If it were, every person would just instantly be using a digital marketing app right now. Most people coming into digital marketing think that if they pay a marketer or a lead gen company $1,000 a month, I should be receiving around $2,000 to $3,000 in return minimum every single month. That's not how it works. The real world is not 100% predictable, and this is not a money printer. Online leads are simply a method to grow your database, and then using automation, you can nurture that database. Over time, it will convert. So this is how you should be thinking about it, as a long-term strategy to solidify your business. If you aren't thinking this way, you will absolutely need to change your mind before you start the program. Again, the focus should always be on growing your database to consistently market to. By having a large database as your target, nurturing them and following up over time, more leads will convert into transactions. Your goal here should be growing a database. Especially for those of you in the course that are newer, this should be your number one goal right now. Build your database, and over time, through automated nurture as well as phone calls that you make to the leads and others, you will be consistently converting leads. But especially for those people newer, you want to build your sphere of influence. Now, this is what most people will forget. Online leads are not warm right away. We have ways to make them warm, but when they first come in, they're just coming in for the ad. So if you're Greg Smith Plumbing, they're only going to know that, hey, I clicked on some dude's page for an ad. That's all they know you as. They're warm in the sense that they provided you their contact information, they've raised their hand, and they've actually given you their personal details, but there's no relationship or loyalty with you yet. This is what's called distraction-based marketing. They were baited into your ad on Facebook. They didn't intend to see it. You're not going to be able to pitch a lead like that on the first 2 to 3 touch points. However, there are lucky cases where a lead will just decide to go with the first business they speak to, and they're actually ready to go right away. But that's very, very unlikely. You're going to need to warm up the leads with consistent touch points from all angles to let them know that you are the go-to option. Now, most of them, even though they've technically been baited, they will know that they can receive a phone call from you in the near future. This is how advertising works at its core. You attract someone with an offer that hits emotion and logic, luring them in to fill out your contact form. This is the exact same strategy that a lot of the largest companies use in marketing because it works. Simple as that. And it leads to sales, so this is actually one of the most effective ways to get leads in your database. Now, in our own agency, if you booked a call with us or we have outreach to you, chances are that we have contacted you multiple times. We might even need to call you 10 to 15 times in order to get you on the phone, to put that into perspective. We typically charge a one-time fee or a split payment for a one-time fee. Now, if we were doing that for our business where we sell our system to you for life, think of your business and what your customer's lifetime value is. Some of you could have return customers or have referrals. How many times will they come back? Just the amount of people they'll refer and the amount of lifetime value that will be generated. There's no reason why you should be struggling to make the same amount of calls to speak to your lead. So you have to make sure that you take care by making all the phone calls necessary. Another thing that most people will forget is that part of this marketing process is sales. And as a salesperson, it's vital to know the difference between warm and colder leads. Online leads are not referrals whatsoever. If you're used to running a business by word of mouth or by referral, know that referrals have a different way of conversion as opposed to online leads. There will be a different sales process. So this is why whenever you pay a lead gen or marketing source and they don't convert, it is usually because expectations are not set and you have the misconception that all leads are coming in are actually going to be referrals. This is very, very important thing to differentiate because most businesses are a career of relationships and loyalty. You have to build that loyalty with these leads. Usually the best salespeople out there have the most relationships and they've shook the most hands. So this is why you have to warm up the leads and you have to build rapport and build that relationship over time, even if it takes a month before the first appointment. What we always say is to never push a lead to come meet with you. This is what most people do, and this is why leads are never converted into appointments, let alone deals. It's just not an appointment. It is very important to not push for the appointment too soon, immediately. This usually leads to no-shows. Keep in mind that it is pretty cheap to generate leads via lead forms landing pages with Facebook, so you have more numbers to work with. Even if one lead does not agree to an appointment on the first call, maybe another lead may agree to a first call appointment. It really depends, and this is why there's so much more opportunity to be converting Facebook leads. As far as follow-ups, they can be automated partially. You don't have to make those 15 or 20 phone call follow-ups. You could have someone calling the leads for you, making those 15 or 20 phone calls. You can have those initial emails sent out. You could have those text messages, voicemail drops, Facebook retargeting set up. There's a lot of things that you can do to stay on top of the lead's mind. So even if they're like 2 months in from the time that they clicked on your ad, you're still showing up on their Facebook feed saying, hey, I noticed that you clicked on our ad a couple months ago. Would you like X, Y, or Z to help you in the process still? This lures people back in who otherwise would have dropped off, and this is just the power of Facebook advertising. Now, intent marketing is what most people think is quick sale marketing. This is what most people want because they want that ROI. With this, leads will come to you through something like Google or a search engine advertising where they're already intending to look for a certain service. We do provide help with Google Ads, but here's the reason we typically start people off with Facebook. In order for Google Ads to work, you need a lot more advertising dollars, typically around $1,000 to even $2,000 a month to get effective results where you're seeing conversions to appointments and deals using Google Ads. You need good SEO and you need good lead capture and a good branding setup. It's not as easy as it seems. And even then, it doesn't mean leads are going to be warm and they're going to be quick sales. You still have to build that relationship and you have to build that loyalty. So for example, if I'm the lead and I go on Google and I search for a certain service, I'm going to look at one website and the other website, and then I'm probably going to be signing up for lead forms for all these different websites. You're bombarded with a ton of different people advertising their services at once. So there can actually be more competition when it comes to this. Facebook leads are going to be more pre-market, they're going to be earlier, thus have a bit less competition and they're not competed with by a bunch of other people. Now, let's get into perspective. I want you guys to really think about this. Imagine you are a prospective customer. You click on a Facebook ad, you get called by someone within 5 minutes. That's exciting. And by the way, that's what you should be doing because if you're not calling the leads within a couple minutes, you're not going to be converting the leads and people will forget about you. But anyway, let's say you have a conversation and that person tells you to come meet with them. Say that conversation was 15 or 20 minutes. Now, are you going to show up? Are you really going to show up to a complete stranger you've never met in your life off of a Facebook ad and spend your hard-earned money on them? Yes and no, but most of the time it's going to be no. Sometimes it happens, but usually there's not enough rapport, loyalty, and relationship built up yet. And what you should be doing is using that first call as an introduction only to say how you can help, what you do, if you have any questions. And that's it. It's actually a sales tactic. You have to plant that seed within their mind. Now, once that seed is planted, they know who you are and what kind of person you are. Then you send them voicemail drops, then you send them text messages, then you send them emails that can be retargeted using Facebook ads. So if someone opens up your email, you can retarget them using Facebook ads. It's pretty crazy. And we're going to show you some of these tactics in the training portal. But this is just a general idea of some of the strategies you should be using. So the ideal situation is that a lead comes in, you plant that seed in their head. And if they're on the fence with coming for an appointment and you feel that you can truly help them and they would like to meet you, then go over that appointment, but do not push it. If that lead comes in, you want to have an email drip campaign set up. So with an email drip, even if there's a bad lead, they're still going to be targeted by those email drips. If they don't want your messages, they can simply unsubscribe. But we want to be getting every lead and squeezing the orange. That's the analogy we use. Squeeze that orange to make sure you get everything out of that lead, put them in email drips, put them in your text message drips, put them in your voicemail drops, and on top of that, retarget on Facebook. This is what is most important when it comes to online lead generation. It's the retargeting where real magic happens. Now, in terms of automation, expect leads to have no-shows if you're not manually keeping up with every single one, and this is expected within the industry. Even if a lead has booked into an appointment and they don't show up, that does not mean the lead is bad. That just means that something has happened in their life or they were sort of unsure and haven't been sold on you yet. This is something you have to keep in mind. Hence, you can actually set up automations that kind of warm up leads prior to the appointment. You could actually have calls prior to the appointment. And even if they missed it, make an effort to make consistent touch points using the CRM that we provide for you. We're going to give you a drip campaign so you can drag and drop into the column that says they missed their appointment, and then it'll send the automatic text message saying, hey, we just noticed that you missed your appointment. It's totally fine. Life happens. If you would like to reschedule, here. If they don't, it's totally fine. But you want to make that phone call and have those voicemail, text messages, an email set up to make sure that they're still going to be nurtured. And maybe down the line, they're going to be saying, hey, let's meet up because last time so-and-so happened and I can see the value in this now. Or they could tell you to F off, but that's business, that's sales. So more about expectations. Converting online leads can be very, very difficult and time consuming. The larger the value of what you're selling is, the more touch points it will take. In some industries, it can even take up to 15 touch points before a lead agrees to speak with you. This is why it's impractical for most people to be calling leads and why we have automation set up or hire teams and assistants to manage the flow of leads and contact them. This is a long-term strategy. Never think of it as a short-term game because it's going to be very hard and you're going to get worn out and just give up on everything. Now, some statistics here. We work with multiple industries at Zayo. Conversion rates depend on what you're selling, and obviously more expensive services are going to be a harder sell. But to give you guys an idea, some of the toughest industries can have a bit less than a 5% conversion rate starting out, like maybe even 2 or 3% as in real estate. Even with excellent follow-ups, expect still less than a 10% conversion rate over time, like maybe 7 or 8%. And you can see what I mean by excellent follow-ups by referring to the lead conversion portal, where we will show you everything. But again, we're really generalizing here as it depends highly on your service and we can go a bit higher with certain services. But we want to give you just realistic targets and let you know you're not going to be converting every single lead or even every other lead, and that's normal. Now, some people that we've worked with have actually converted as high as 20% of these generated leads. That's 4 out of every 20 leads, and that's pretty insane. As far as cost, Facebook leads are typically $5 to $15 per application submission. Therefore, you can easily generate at least 20 to 40 leads per month. And with the bare minimum of follow-up, you should see some results coming out of that. As your follow-up and experience develops, your conversion rates will only increase as well. So don't get discouraged at first. You will get better at managing the leads and actually converting them into clients. And with running your ads month after month, you're able to consistently build your pipeline with very little effort. Your ad is doing all the work and the automations in the CRM and taking care of the follow-up, allowing you to easily add 2 to 3 leads to your pipeline every day. And this will replace more manual outreach. This will replace your cold calling and door knocking. So that is a huge free up of your time. Instead of making hundreds of cold calls every single day, you're only going to make 10 with warmer leads sitting from home, generating those leads on autopilot. So you're going to be calling the people that clicked on your ad, so they're sort of warmer than cold calls as opposed to just calling someone out of the blue. Now remember, the lead provided you their personal information for a reason. They are actually interested in your service at some point, so be confident in yourself. But many of them don't know when that point is. So it's up to you to educate them and hold your hand through the process, advising them on each decision they make. That is your job as a business owner. Remember that these leads actually gave you their personal information to you. So it's up to you to maximize that. How can you squeeze the orange hard enough? Now, if you have a truly tough or bad lead, leave them in your automated sequence. If they want, they can opt out of your emails if they don't want to receive them. Bad leads are expected, so keep in mind that not everyone who says no right away is a bad lead either. And on the topic of bad leads, if you consider a lead bad, reconsider why they're bad. It just may be the situation they're in. After they receive emails for months on end, maybe they'll say, you know what, I actually like that email this guy just sent to me. Maybe let me get on the phone call with him just to ask him a question. And that's where your first meeting can be set and turning into those clients. This is the thing. It's really, really unexpected with Facebook lead generation. You can be generating leads and not have any conversion for the first few months. And in the 4th month, you could have 6 leads that you've been continuously nurturing reach out to you and say, hey, let's meet for some coffee. So this is just the power of lead generation and good follow-up. Please do not get impatient and don't get stressed out when things don't go well. Just do the small things consistently. Over time, that will pile up, things will start to work out, and you will be converting leads on autopilot.